Happy to hear this response and this reaction. And we hope more people are as curious and open as you are. That's all I can say.
I don't think it was a matter of timing, at least for me. I'm not sure about for Zoya. I think it was these are things that we are curious about, like we are interested in like exploring, learning, and talking about these um a lot of things in the world, like as filmmakers are. So I don't think it was so much a matter of timing that this is the time to do it. Like I think there was a genuine deep like curiosity and interest, which is where it comes from. We had thanks to Tiger Baby and Amazon, we had a deep and long period of research where we got a team together and we learned about the concerns and got to meet a lot of the community and um, through that period decided to understand a little bit, formulate and structure how we wanted to tell these stories, and started to meet a lot of people, which is what we wanted to do was like in our curation show that the complexities and the diversity of the Indian idea of being trans is vast. So we wanted to get a broad range of stories and people from different contexts. Um, and we wanted to be uniquely Indian, rooted, like these are real Indian people from different walks of life who are expressing their transness. So it was a long, long phase of research, and we had many people in the mix and many ideas and stories that we want to play with. And eventually, it was also a matter of who could tell their stories to us. Um, it's not easy for everyone to, be on camera, agree to tell their stories. These are tough, tough lives. So it was also about who could actually tell us these stories.
I was involved in the sense of putting the project together. I wasn't involved in the making of the actual making of it, like what Aisha did.
Hmm. It is interesting. You have told very interesting stories in fiction, and now you've taken this non-fiction part and you're telling some of the most compelling stories. And I think it is your third documentary that has come. If
This is the
I'm
second one. The third one is yet to come. Uh,
yeah, okay, yeah,
Turtle Walker. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that is yet to come.
I
Yeah.
mean, I love documentaries. I watch a lot of them, and it's a format I really enjoy. And it allows you to do very different things, you know. And there are certain stories that are best told this way. So it's good to be able to have partners that feel that way and will fund it and exhibit it. And, it's just starting up really well in India. And I'm very, very happy for this space.
Yes, I also feel that documentary filmmaking in India seems to have really come of age. Not for filmmakers. Filmmakers were always doing the best of
Ah,
to their
yeah.
abilities. I think there is more awareness in the general audience जिनको खाली बॉलीवुड की फिल्म या बाकी फिल्म्स देखते थे. Do you feel that way, both of you? What is your experience like
Yeah,
compared to earlier?
yeah, I'll take that because like 6 years ago, 7 years ago, what documentaries were you watching in India? Not many, until you went to a festival, maybe. You didn't really have any cinema releases, very few of documentaries. So I think we now have like a growing audience for documentary. I think the platforms are entirely to be praised for this. They have brought documentary into your living room. Everybody is watching it. There's a appetite for it. I think along with it, the craft has also elevated. Um, we used to have like the idea that people had about documentaries was that they're poorly made, you know. Now you have people who are working like across fiction and documentary, crew move in two different ways, craft has elevated, there's a language. So I think all of these things help when you have a captive audience and audience is interested. So both have grown at the same time.
Zoya?
Yeah, exactly what she said.
Hmm.
There's a lot more exposure. And I think people are interested in stories, and certain stories are good as short films, certain things are lend itself to 8 hours, of narrative, certain things are good as features, and certain stories need to be told in their most authentic, true self. They make the most interesting and most impactful watching. So I think people are watching it, and as she said, they are much more cinematic than they were. They are treated in a particular way now. So it really sucks a viewer in.
Hmm. Uh, when you're telling the story, Aisha, and I think both of you, it is also very like some of the elements are filmy in the sense that you're bringing film references. Like there is a reference to Hum Paanch Hai, Anil Kapoor comes from the screen, and it sort of reflects the millennial growing experience in that sense, in context of Hum Paanch. So and then you have I wouldn't say animation but sort of a sketch thing. I don't know, I'm technically enough to describe what it is, but it transitions very beautifully to the narrative in the interviews and the cityscapes that you have captured. So please talk about that. How did you sort of decide this is how I want to tell the story, and how did you go about
You know,
yeah.
yeah, about the film and Bollywood references. I mean, that is your popular culture, right? Like that is what, and that is why when we'll come to later this conversation is why representation is important because that's what people consume. That's where people spend their time being inspired and watching and discussing. And I think uh, about bringing those stories out, it wasn't like I was like, I need to get a Bollywood reference out here. It's the world that the characters live in. That's the world that they live in, and those are the things that like struck them when they were growing up. Like the first time they saw themselves on screen, or the first time they felt something about a character or love or any such thing. So I think Bollywood is in the veins of everyone. Oh, not Bollywood, but like all Indian cinema, Indian film, Indian television, all of this. So it is the it is the it is the it is the background and context to most people's lives, right? Um, so it happened very naturally. It wasn't like one had to force it. This is the world.
Hmm, hmm. Zoya, your cinema reflects a lot of trans experience. I mean, you Made in Heaven had a trans character and beautifully etched. At what point you sort of, as a filmmaker, you decided that you will and you must include this in your stories, and also the way you portray your men. They are not the kind of men that one sees,
Yes, I'm
and there is
manifest.
a lot of pushback between the what kind of masculinity we are going to portray on
Yeah.
screen. There's a lot of debate,
Uh,
but yeah.
I mean, there is space for all kinds of characters and people, and I guess I'm just manifesting the kind of men I want to see in the world, you know, and what I find interesting, and what I find attractive, and what I feel masculinity is. For me, I think Made in Heaven was my world. It's part of my world. These characters, I know all these characters in a sense. Especially the Arjuns and the Shobita characters and stuff. I know I've met these people, so it was natural for that to come out with us. And when we got that kind of crazy feedback from the LGBT community, because they were seeing themselves on screen, they were feeling represented in an authentic way. I think that lent itself for us to expand that a little bit. And then when we wrote Meherin, Alankrita, Rima, and me, we realized we knew very little. We knew what we had seen around, but we didn't know anyone. Like we didn't know enough. So we started interviewing people, and through those interviews, and they were very kind, the people that spoke to us, and very honest, and they shared a lot with us, their dreams. And this Meher was a specific kind of character, and so that story came out of these interviews, that track came out of these interviews, and we realized that actually this is something that we need to expand on in a different format. They need to tell the audience their own story. And we pitched that to Amazon Prime, who went for it in one call. So it was actually we got really lucky. And, I'm very grateful for that, to them, for jumping on this. And then we got Aisha on because we needed somebody who can helm this, who can actually understand it, who can shepherd it, who can not manipulate people that don't know this medium, who won't try to be cheap with it, like a cheap shot with it, or make it, scandalous, or, kind of like shocking, no shock value. We needed somebody to who will come in there and treat the subject and the people with dignity. And yeah, so then she came on, and then now that's it. Then we started watching the cuts. Everything worked out really well for us. We had to do nothing more, actually.
Aisha, you've traveled different corners of India, and like you said, very uniquely Indian stories. Even for like, um, I have heard the Hijra stories while growing up. I
Mm,
have heard those stories, and I've
mm,
seen those biases and those weirdness. You begin by suspicion, and as you grow, and I hope many people read and learn from their experiences, you try to understand the other side and try to know that, and the basic empathy that everybody is unique in themselves, and
mm,
they have the right to exist as much and as beautifully as everyone else. So
absolutely.
this was, I mean, I have seen some of the stories growing up in a small town like Varanasi. So to capture that, you must have gone through a lot of research, obviously, and you've traveled a lot that reflects the kind of stories you pick up from different parts of the world. So how was that experience collating and finding these people? And what were the stories that like struck you the most?
Um, you know, um, when we first started our research, and this idea was like sort of Zoya and Rima brought this idea to me. At first I was a little bit like flummoxed by it, because I was like, it's like, how do you tell the story of like women in India? It's like, like the canvas is huge. Like, which women? Where are they? What are the stories we're talking about, right? Like, there so many diverse experiences of being a woman in India. So likewise, being trans in India is this is what this is our baseline setting, that it is huge, it's vast, it's unique, and it's complex, right? So how do we bring that out in the stories? We talk about things that are universally moving to all of us, identity, our place in the world, our relationships with our families, love, finding love. These are universal things that move everybody. Now, through that, what we wanted to do was like, we are not talking about being hijra in this country. We're not talking about we're not talking about only one experience or one kind of trans mask or trans feminine. We wanted to have all the voices in as we can, because all of them are uniquely placed to talk about love and family and identity and place in the world. So we let the characters do their talking and tell their stories. So Madhuri's experience, which is what you're talking about, and how she explains what it was like to have one foot in the hijra world as does Tina, and then to come out of that world. That was really fascinating for us because, I don't know if you know, but the community is very, very tight. The hijra community, the Kinder community, they're very codified. So it was very interesting for us to find two characters who had been inside, had a first-hand experience, could tell us about it, could talk to us about it, and then come out and then actually try and find their place outside of that community in the world. So I think that's what drew us to this. And also, you can't negate the Hijra and Kinner community in India. They're such a big part of the trans um, expression and trans world. So it was important for us to explore that as well.
Yeah, I think last question I have, Zoya, through this documentary, obviously you're setting out to explore in nonfiction some of the realities and interests of India. Does this inform your fiction also more so now?
No, absolutely. Inform my fiction in the sense that anything that you do informs your fiction, in a sense. So, I mean, I studied literature and sociology, and they both inform my writing, and your approach and your lensing to the world. So, whatever you do, I mean, tomorrow, if I have dinner with a quantum physicist, he's going to inform my writing. You just have to open your head, and somewhere, something that stays with you will come out somewhere, You don't have to, it doesn't have to be so. Sometimes it's just immediate, and you're like, I want a character like that, or I want the story, or I want that. Sometimes it's latent. If something has tickled you, or moved you, or inspired you, or shocked you, or offended you, or it just lies latent in you, and somewhere it'll come out. So I think, yeah.
Yeah, Aisha, you've done some of the, like, you're very curious as a filmmaker, non-fiction filmmaker. I mean, you did a podcast, and then you did a crime documentary for Netflix, and this documentary. What is next for both of you? Last question.
Right now, it's in transit and fully in
Yeah.
transit. Uh,
And hopefully
have
she's doing something with us again.
yeah,
Yeah.
fingers crossed. But right now, it's just us.
Zoya?
This only. I mean, right now we are all focused on this,
Mhm.
and let's see how it goes. This is it. Yeah.
I'm pretty confident this is going to be really good because it is
Thank
very
you.
captivating.
Thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
very
Thank
sweet.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for a lovely
Lovely
conversation.
talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Lovely. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye. Thanks. Bye.
Guys, I'm going to take one